Hello everyone. If you read the title of this video, it's called Everything Happens for a Reason. And for example, by me starting this channel, I will make this video about me, but you can relate it to yourself. For example, by me doing this channel around about 3 or 4 years ago, this year is going to be the 4th year of me doing my channel. And you have to realize, by me putting myself out there, I'm able to meet most of you. I'm able to figure out what it is that you like. And I'm going to say this as well, because before I had this channel, I didn't really have a purpose, and I was living without purpose. And you realize that when people live without purpose, they start to put their happiness in other people. They start to put their happiness in opportunities. And when those people are taken away from you, and when those opportunities are taken away from you, you start to lose bits of yourself. And here is what I'm going to say, because, for example, by living without purpose, you don't even think about the future. You don't think long term. You start to put your happiness into other people, and you start wanting to be with other people, but you don't have a life of your own. And I wanted to say, by me starting this channel 3-4 years ago, it was a decision. And you have to realize that everything happens for a reason. For example, when good or bad things happen, you don't want to be that person where you're like, oh, I don't really care about this. I'm not going to try as hard. Because you have to realize, by you gaining opportunities, you have to find ways to find other opportunities. And it depends on who you know. It depends on you putting yourself out there. And apologies for the background noise, but give me some credit, because this video might be one of my most aesthetic videos. But that's not even the point I'm trying to make. Because everything happens for a reason. And every decision that you make, it leads to another decision. And it leads you closer to someone else. And it leads you to more opportunities. And what I wanted to say, when it comes to everything happening for a reason, is because when people say that you need to face the consequences of your actions, it's because some people, they do things without thinking. And for example, you can also face consequences when you take no action. So for example, when you don't take any action at all, taking no action, you have no direction, you don't know what it is that you're trying to do next. And that's what I'm going to say as well, because when you take no action, you realize that it's a consequence that you face, and you start to affect other people around you. Because the things that you don't do, you realize that it affects you the most, but it affects other people around you. Because the main takeaway of this video is that you need to realize that everything happens for a reason, good or bad. And you need to realize, you need to start thinking that every situation, there's either a win or you learn something new. You don't think of it as a win or a loss. Instead of thinking about what you lost, you need to start thinking of what you can gain. And no matter if it's a good or bad thing, because for example, you start to lose opportunities, you start to lose someone, you might start losing money. And then you need to realize, by losing money, you start to realize that how did you even lose money in the first place, and how can you gain it back? You're going to meet so many different people. You realize that you meet people at your highest or your lowest point. And you need to realize that when you meet people at your lowest point, they are always going to be here for you, because they actually are with you through the lowest point. But you need to be very careful of the people that you meet at your very highest point, because they wasn't always with you. Some people are nowhere to be found when you're going through your lowest point. But when you're in your highest point, that's when you attract so many people towards you. And you just need to be careful of who's really here for you and who's not. You need to realize that the future is so uncertain, that you get to look forward to something. And you have to realize that that's why you need to work harder today, because tomorrow isn't really promised. But more than likely, we're going to live tomorrow, that's the thing. You realize as well that everything does happen for a reason. Because have you noticed that when you're really busy, that's when people want to start reaching out to you more? And you have to realize as well that when you're not as busy, you realize that you want people to always reach out to you. You want people to give you attention. So I'll say that again. We only have one opportunity to really ask out the girl that we want. We have one opportunity to really try something new. And you have to realize that time is not really waiting for anyone. And you realize that when you climb up a ladder, for example, you don't want to climb down the ladder, because what you're seeing at the top, it doesn't make you want to go to the bottom. And you need to realize as well that when you're at the rock bottom, the only way that you can really go is on top. And you realize that you start climbing slowly, you try something new. And you have to realize as well that when you're at rock bottom, you can't go any lower than that. That's the thing. What I wanted to say, if everything happened the way that you wanted it to be, you realize that you don't learn anything from it, because everything is handed to you. All the people give you attention, you start getting the money that you want. So that's why when it comes to you getting experiences with other people, experiences that you want by yourself so that you can have more independence, you need to realize that because time is going by, you have less opportunities to have new experiences. And you need to realize that if money wasn't a factor, people wouldn't be chasing after money. They'll start chasing after experiences, because you have to realize money is the reason why most people have really problems. And you need to realize that when you lose money, you can gain it back. But say you have negative money in your account, depending on the person that you are, you can earn money back. You start to realize that you can take money, invest it into good things. Like, you need to start investing in yourself so that you can create more opportunities for yourself. Are you good at saving money, and are you good at investing in yourself? Oh my goodness, I'm actually crying. I don't know how to explain this. I really don't know how to explain this. I'm not going through anything right now, but it's like, it does come across that way in this video, because I don't know why tears are coming down my face, and it's like, nothing that I'm saying is making myself cry. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to relate to you through this video, because everything does happen for a reason. And I've been on this channel for like 3-4 years now. And I want it to be that I've learned something every single year. And I want it to be that I'm attracting new people. I want it to be that everyone has likes, they have dislikes, that we can always talk about it in the comment section. If you are forever chasing opportunities and it's not working, you need to try something else, because what you're doing, it isn't working. So that's why by attracting opportunities, you realize that it's not always about what you do, but sometimes it's who you know. And sometimes you just need to not underestimate that, because maybe right now, the people that you meet, they're not really where they want to be. And you start to underestimate them, thinking that they won't do anything for themselves, that they're not going to do anything. But give it a few years' time, and you see those people, they've really changed. So when it comes to meeting people, you can't judge a book by its cover. And you need to realize as well that when it comes to really meeting people, no matter where you meet them, you need to start focusing more on the conversations that you have with people, because where is it that you want to be, and how can someone else help you get there?